All right, you ready?
Yep,
Okay, so it's recording, so I'm just gonna like crop the first part out. But
that works.
okay, so this is the final project for PE 858, which is Leadership and Ethics in Health, Physical Education, and Coaching, and it is on gamesmanship and sportsmanship and diversity issues. Thank you so much for coming on and letting me interview you. If you wouldn't mind just giving me some of your background, geographic location, years coaching, what sports, demographics, and a couple highlights of your coaching career. So, geographical location, years coaching.
I've coached probably 7 or 8 years now. Only 1 year as a varsity head coach, which is for the Pleasantville girls basketball team in Westchester, New York. Um, Prior to that, I coached at the high school where I graduated from, various sports at various levels, ranging from modified to JV, head coach to assistant varsity coach. And the learning experiences this year as a first year head coach was, I would say so far, is one of my highlights. There was a lot of learning, especially coming over from boys basketball to girls basketball. There's a lot of differences, and being able to connect with the players and the girls and build those relationships and connections early on, hopefully building the foundation for the future was definitely something I enjoyed. But prior, my experiences at Tappan Zee and Rockland, being the assistant coach for our boys state championship team was definitely one of those highlights as well.
Yeah, for sure. So,
Both suburban areas and
yeah,
very similar to each other.
yeah. Thank you. So, in terms of your own personal coaching philosophy, one that you've developed from watching coaches throughout your experience and now as a varsity head coach, is sportsmanship an important part of your coaching philosophy? And if it is, why?
Yes, absolutely. I think the biggest thing or the most important thing when taking over a team, especially at the high school level, is developing a culture. And I think sportsmanship is definitely one of those branches or sub branches of building a positive culture. Um, Winning is fantastic, and I'm as competitive as it gets, but it's about a lot more than winning and representing yourself and representing your family and representing your community. And I think that all goes into one sportsmanship, which is a huge part of the culture that I would love to build and hopefully on the way to building. Um, so as much as it is about being a strong athlete, I think it's just as important, if not more important, to be strong people.
Thank you. So, in terms of your most current season as Pleasantville girls basketball varsity head coach, what is one event regarding good sportsmanship that sticks out from most other experiences that you've had?
Well, so far since it's been brief, only 21 games, just the consistency of, and it really goes both ways at this point. From an opponent standpoint and ourselves standpoint, just the ability of the girls, the way they're conducting themselves in terms of if there's hard fouls, it doesn't turn into fights and pushing contests. It turns into, uh, yes, that was a hard foul, and yes, I'm pissed, but I'm going to help you up, and I'll accept the help up and everything like that. I've been very fortunate so far that I haven't had many people display poor sportsmanship, obviously little things. But I wouldn't say one thing sticks out, but I was just very proud of our girls this year for handling certain circumstances which could have went south the right way and everything like that, whether it was them giving a hard foul, taking a hard foul, or kind of facing adversity on straight on.
Right. So, have you ever in your coaching career had issues with players where they have been reprimanded regarding unsportsmanlike conduct, either during a practice or competition? And if so,
Um,
what was that situation?
Unfortunately, yes. There's been moments throughout my prior jobs over when I was in Rockland, where we've been in very competitive games and emotions have run very high. And whether it was athletes, we've experienced athletes yelling at the refs. I've experienced athletes kicking a chair on their way to the bench. Um, I've experienced athletes not conducting themselves amongst each other in the proper way. So I haven't had anything too serious in terms of it getting physical, but just not the way you'd prefer every single person to act. But then again, we are dealing with teenagers and emotions run high. So
Okay. So, how have you dealt with unsportsmanlike issues on your teams at any level that you've dealt with
um,
in terms of
often
consequences, penalties, things like that?
often conversations, just personal conversations with the athlete themselves often work. Whether it's in private or in front of the team, depending on the situation. Um, I think that I don't want to say peer pressure, but just being an outlier, if you are the outlier and everyone else is conducting yourselves one way and you allow them to see that, they often fall back into it. And a lot of times kids get it. Kids know they made a mistake. And when you have that conversation, they respond. They acknowledge that there was a mistake made, and I've been fortunate enough that every athlete I've had so far in those circumstances have had the ability to self-reflect, whether it's through conversation with me or themselves, and just kind of remind them that it's bigger than themselves. It's about the teammates, respecting the game, respecting their teammates, respecting their opponents.
All right, thank you. So, are you familiar with the term gamesmanship?
Um, I am. I'm not sure in the exact way that we're using it here, but
I'll give
I'm
you,
assuming more so in pushing the boundaries of the rules to kind of take an advantage.
yeah, specifically to gain a psychological advantage.
Okay.
So, do you, as a basketball coach, utilize gamesmanship as part of your coaching strategy?
I do not. Has it accidentally happened in just play of game? I'm sure it has, and I could probably think once or twice the times that it did, but I don't encourage it. And I'm a big believer in playing hard and smart, but I'm not saying gamesmanship is unfair, but I'm gonna say but playing fair.
Yeah.
Something just the integrity of the game and respect for your opponents and respect for yourself.
Okay, so given your answer there, do you consider gamesmanship as taking advantage of the rules or cheating? Or do you feel that any advantage gained in this sense is like unethical?
Um, I don't encourage it, so I may find it, I guess, I don't want to say unethical, but I think there's a lot of gray area.
Hmm.
And some may consider it a clever strategy to gain an edge. I don't fall into that. So
Do you think it would be cheating?
I don't know if it's cheating. I don't think it's cheating because it is within the rules more often than not. I think that ethics is more of the question and your coaching philosophy and beliefs. And no, it doesn't line up with mine. I do acknowledge it's probably not cheating, but I don't believe it's 100% ethical.
Okay, thank you. So, in terms of utilizing a positive strategy regarding diversity on your teams, do you use any specific strategies? Could you name one? So, one positive strategy regarding diversity on your team, whether it be for aspects of religion, gender, race, economics, or etc.
Um, I'm not sure if this is necessarily answering your question, and if it's not, just let me know and I'll
I'll
try to.
restate if not.
Um, I'm a big team building coach. I often try to take 30 minutes or 40 minutes at least once a week through our, I guess, 4 month season to do a team building activity um, in replace of practice time. And I'm sure not every coach is like that, but through those team bonding activities, I have students kind of get out of their comfort zone and share experiences, or we do one thing called like a hero highlight and hardship, and the students, not should say student athletes, get up and become a little bit vulnerable and they share a highlight, whether it's of their season, of their career, of their life, a hardship, and who their hero is and why, and things like that. And that's just one example of a team activity I do. And we do something similar on Jersey night where all the players have to get up and say something. And I think becoming uncomfortable and being vulnerable in front of one another often helps that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not sure if that was on par with your question, but
it is. It is definitely
okay.
the team bonding is a strategy to regarding diversity. So obviously individuals that may practice different religions, or may identify in different ways or of different races or different economic statuses, right? That team bonding helps bring them together.
Absolutely.
Did I communicate that right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, in terms of any diversity issues on your teams, obviously, with the specific sport that we're talking about, there is girls and boys basketball. Um, and on the girls' team that you've coached at the varsity level, have you had to deal with any diversity issues, such as players not accepting teammates due to socioeconomic status, religion, or racial background?
I do have to say I am fortunate enough that I've had not had to deal with that. Um, I don't want to say our community is not diverse or multicultural, but amongst our team, there wasn't very much differences, thankfully. I dealt with other issues in terms of players maybe not being as close with a certain group, which I tried to squash through team bonding activities, or a seniority type thing, in which players who have been around longer had a sense of entitlement. And as a new head coach, obviously I'm walking into that, so I did try to squash that. But from a strictly diversity and multicultural perspective, I've been very fortunate that I've
Yes.
not had to deal with that.
So you bring up an interesting point about like squashing that entitlement that you were noticing almost like that sense of seniority, obviously with the student athletes that had been on the team before. What was your strategy to kind of squash that?
So through directed team building activities, I had that again speaking and being vulnerable in front of one another, but a lot of once or I shouldn't say a lot, once or twice early on in the season when I noticed this, I had them get up there and it was very directed towards them finding similarities amongst one another and acknowledging you can't do it by yourself, that you need one another. You're not as different as you think, and you need somebody more than you know. And I kind of started gearing a couple of the team activities early on when I noticed it towards ideas like that.
Awesome. So in your preseason before the team is selected, do you address any type of diversity acceptance, or do you feel it's necessary in your element of your coaching responsibilities to address diversity acceptance?
I do think it is very important. Again, like I said, I've been fortunate that I didn't have to deal with it, but I really do try my best. I don't know necessarily, let's say, like there's an introduction to me about diversity acceptance, but through my coaching style and what I say and my philosophy, I try to make it very known that this is a very welcoming space for new players, old players, hopeful players one day. And I really do my best to bring everybody together, which I guess is addressing it, just not directly, almost indirectly.
Yeah, so indirectly addressing adversity acceptance. And you kind of set the stage for that right as you're kind of beginning that preseason, or is it more of after teams are selected?
Absolutely. So I do set the tone with I don't know as I want to say I don't make them sign a code of conduct. But I do make the expectations very clear before practice one. It's almost the first thing on practice one, and I'm going to make it a regular thing. Practice one doesn't start in the gym; it starts in the classroom, where we kind of go through all of the expectations and I guess our unofficial code of conduct because I don't make them sign anything. I hope that it doesn't get to the point that I do because that means we ran into some issues. I'm hoping we don't run into those. So definitely get out ahead of it, and then just I think I don't want to talk about myself too much, but I think just the way in which I communicate with the kids and how I set up my practices and team activities, and just that being me in a way has kind of addresses it throughout.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for participating in this interview. This interview has been recorded, as you've known, and it is going to be submitted as part of my final project for Emporia State University, a grad school class for leadership and ethics in health, PE, and coaching. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of your answers. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know you have a very busy Saturday as you're also part of the lacrosse program for Pleasantville as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.